A League One Saturday slate so good, we had to get it started early for you here. It's the Greenville Triumph in Lexington SC on ESPN Plus, brought to you by YMCA Greenville. It's the final 4-game stretch in October. Both teams still have work to do as we look at the standings. Brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here. These two teams still looking to lock up a playoff spot.
4 games left, including today for both these teams. You'd think Lexington would need at least perhaps 7 or 8 points from those 4 to have a shot at the playoffs. Greenville, pretty comfortable in a playoff spot. Would love to get a home quarterfinal. A home semi perhaps looks out of reach, though, with long trips to Spokane and Fuego still to deal with.
Lexington, one of the many teams that are in that race for the 8th playoff spot. Greenville, like you said, looking comfortable now, which means their eyes are set towards getting themselves in the right form for the playoffs. And I think one of the big things for them is finding that second goal-scoring option next to Lyon McKinnon. They believe Leo Castro can fill into that role nicely.
Perhaps tonight we'll see it. 35-year-old Colombian, 7 goals in all comps on the season, but only 1 goal in his last 7 games. He matched his best shooting output of the campaign a couple of games ago when he managed 6 efforts in the win over Chattanooga. Rick Wright did say this week he had perhaps the best practice spell of the season he's had, so we'll see if Castro can turn that into a solid offensive performance today.
Leo Castro, the leading goal scorer last year for Greenville. Meanwhile, talking about scoring, we saw 2 sides of Lexington in their last 2 games, and they're only within days of each other. A 7-1 win against Central Valley, followed by a 3-0 loss against the Richmond Kickers. Ross, do we have any idea which of these Lexington teams we're going to see today?
Probably not. Listen, they brought in a ton of high-level talent coming into this first season, but unlike North Carolina, who got promoted with a title last year, Lexington unlikely to be promoted coming off a win. They haven't managed to get things going. Just 4 wins in their last 17 in all comps, and 2 of those have come against lowly Fuego. But they're only 2 points off the playoff line, and I think any team in the top 4 would like to see the talent they have coming in for a must-win game.
Well, it's a new venue this afternoon at the historic Riggs Field, which means a chance for League One to show its wonder to a new location. That's right. We've got the Greenville Triumph and Lexington up next on ESPN Plus. After this break, we'll have the lineups and the kickoff here for you. So stay locked in, and we'll see you then.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. At Wood Creek Dental, we believe in quality care and exceptional service. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. We've invested in modern technology and have created a relaxing atmosphere for your comfort and peace of mind. We prioritize your experience in our calm and caring atmosphere. Our commitment to providing you and your family with exceptional service is at the heart of everything we do, and our patient-centered approach builds relationships based on trust and confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
Today's match is presented by YMCA of Greenville, proud partner of the Greenville Triumph. We welcome you here to historic Riggs Field in Clemson, South Carolina, about 30 miles from Greenville. Of course, the game had to get relocated due to power issues at Paladin Stadium, but that doesn't mean some great soccer isn't on the docket between these two teams. Here are the starting lineups brought to you by Pelham Medical Center.
Rick Wright's men in the lilac tonight. Big news is no Zion Scarlett. Started last game, not even in the 18. Tonight, we didn't hear any injury news about him. We did hear about Daniel Wu with an Achilles problem. In come Nate Schultz, only his second start in 5. Sebastian Velasquez, obviously the big news as well in the midfield. The only one for 25 minutes last time out. And then Ben Zakowski, his first start since late August.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Darren Powell's side coming in, looking to see how they'll match up against this Greenville team, and this is the lineup they trot out here with this afternoon.
Yeah, they haven't really got things going in 2024, but that's a scary front four, as you ever see in League One. Plenty of firepower up there. 2 changes for Darren Powell. Out goes Cerrito, Sanucci, in come Caputo, as well as Kalen Fox at the back. And on the bench, Azad Liadi in the 18 for the first time since late August. He's been dealing with an injury.
With Nico Brown, Ates Diouf, Yannick Yankum, and Cameron Lancaster, that is quite the fearsome 4 up top. And last time these two teams met, it was Lexington victorious 1-0 at Paladin Stadium a couple months ago in Jägermeister Cup play. Our head official for this game this evening is Wesley Costa. This game taking place behind closed doors, no fans allowed. But we'll see if anyone peers on from the outside of the premise. As we see here, it's Lexington and Greenville. The show must go on.
Yeah, 2 teams certainly in need of 3 points for very different reasons. Greenville been struggling at home all season, and maybe this change to a new home, as we should say, for this one game might change little things in their favor. I was playing on grass rather than turf. There's no fans, and it obviously isn't great anytime you're at home, but perhaps we'll see some, as you said, Mark, on the walkway or behind here in the parking lot. I see a few up there already. They'll be heard, that's for sure.
So we are hearing a clarification that tickets were not sold, but they are allowing people into the stadium. I know friends and family of the staff were definitely going to be included. And if anybody else, I mean, look, if you made the 45-minute drive out from Greenville to check it out, I feel like, I mean, hey, let them in, let them enjoy the game.
It's a beautiful day, that's for sure. Beautiful historic Riggs Field, beautiful surface. Won a national championship. Not here, but they won the national championship last year, Clemson, 2023.
They won it through here, that's for
yes.
certain. Including having some playoff games, as the NCAA men's tournament up until the College Cup does have home seeds and playoff games in venues across the country. Unfortunately for me, they beat my Mountaineers in the College Cup semifinals.
At least your team's made an NCAA tournament. I won't mention mine.
You mentioned wonderful day, 86 degrees. Maybe a bit hot given the fact that this game's taking place at 2 as opposed to your typical 7 p.m. Eastern time Greenville kickoff.
Finally getting aligned with the rest of the world, Mark, with mid-afternoon kickoffs. It's good to see. Yes, obviously, thoughts with everybody affected by the hurricane in the Carolinas. Rick Wright said he still didn't have power back.
Neither he nor did Brandon Fricke at the time we talked to them. Hopefully they've gotten that sorted out since then.
Yes.
One flooded car amongst the guys in the group, but outside of that, everyone was pretty good. Lost just 1 training day, and many of the players were able to get out of town for the weekend, last weekend.
Yeah, I mentioned direct that perhaps the break didn't come at the right time after that disappointing result at home against Central Valley 2 weeks ago. Goals coming on a penalty and an own goal for Greenville. No goals from the run of play. With Fuego coming in after 7-1 loss to their opponents here tonight.
Lexington, very similar to Greenville, having that 2-week break. Of course, the Jägermeister Cup final last weekend, so a lot of teams got some time off, but we had a smattering of midweek games earlier this week, so not everybody got the whole 14 days between games. For this Lexington team, it was a 3-0 loss versus Richmond following that 7-1 win at home against Central Valley. Obviously a disappointing result, though. Credit due to the Richmond kicker. Some great goals scored in that game by Richmond. Scorpion kick, some excellent shots. But at the end of the day, this one nearly squeaks through for Ates Diouf. And Jamie Smith has to interject and clear it out.
Yeah, Jamie Smith back at center back tonight. Evan Lee back to his, I'm going to say traditional defensive midfield position, but where he spent most of this season.
Christian Liu Young, toss it to Diouf, turns it right back to him. Castro still has it. And he will switch the point of attack over to Zakowski. He's able to track it down. Zakowski all by himself right now, so he'll cut it back. It's Chapa Herrera to Velasquez. That veteran connection there. Teammates for much longer than just this year. Be interesting to see how these teams both get this one going here with the earlier kickoff. Not traditional in League One. Herrera tripping it up for Lee. Evan Lee playing in very far ahead here. Taps it back to his double pivot counterpart in Chapa Herrera.
Seeing Greenville pushing bodies forward a little more than we're used to. That can be a dangerous business against a team with the transition skill that Lexington have.
Kalen Fox threads this one up ahead. Diouf venturing out wide, and Tyler Pollock hit in the face, and a free kick for the Greenville Triumph coming in, which gives us a good chance to talk about our keys to the game, brought to you by Acumen IT. For the Greenville Triumph, it's the final 4 games of the season, Ross, and now is the time for it all to come together.
They're finally healthy. When they're here, they're home here, they need 3 points. When they mentioned the 2 road games coming up all the way on the West Coast, this is where they really should be able to get things going. Velasquez is back starting. They're only missing Daniel Wu, who, let's be honest, just a backup defender, right? They need to get things going tonight, claim 3 points if they really want to keep the hopes for a home quarterfinal alive.
Meanwhile, for Lexington, you briefly mentioned it a moment ago, they have got some pace on the attack. They need to utilize it here against Greenville.
We'll get to that in a second, maybe.
Zakowski takes a shot blocked by Fox.
Yeah, Greenville, at times in the past, has had trouble with speedy technical forwards. Lexington has at least 3 of those. I mentioned the transition opportunities. Greenville's going to have to be very careful they don't get caught with the pace of this man. They love to keep Nico Brown back there, though.
Nico Brown, a former Greenville man, as this one's chipped centrally. And Yanka is able to knock it away to Nico Brown.
Job by Evan Lee there on his former teammate, as you mentioned, Mark.
Of course, this is Nico Brown's 2nd year with Lexington. There for the inaugural season last year. Once again, if you're tuning in and you're realizing, wait a minute, this is not Paladin Stadium, this looks quite different, that's because it's the historic Riggs Field, built in 1987, Clemson, South Carolina. You'd seat about 6,500. Got some nice Bermuda grass, locker rooms located underneath the stadium. Zakowski able to bring this one down. McKinnon trying to thread this one through, and it'll roll out of play for a goal kick. This evening's weather report is brought to you by Fox Carolina. See, it's a lovely day in Clemson. Almost at Greenville there by habit. Like we were talking about the stadium, Rick Wright said that the guys are excited to play on some good grass. They've played better on grass this season in general, so I'll enjoy this opportunity, even though the unfortunate circumstances that have become of this opportunity.
Yeah, just a little different with the bounce of the ball. A little easier on the feet and the knees, playing on the grass for sure. Lovely turn there by Caputo.
Yankum.
Yankum, excuse me.
Playing this one over to the left. Kanadi will send this one out wide to Liu Young. Now Mendez threads this one in, tapped back. Now Lexington getting some bodies committed forward. Brown couldn't get it by Zakowski. Guys who have gotten refamiliarized with League One this season after having played in it a couple of years ago. And they've all been common fixtures in the lineup this season. And you added that guy number 17 at the top of the formation, the legendary Cameron Lancaster, who earned Player of the Week in Week 21.
He'll be excited to get back playing his wares in the USL Championship next season. Of course, assuming he is retained. Obviously, he had the advantage in the recruit. We talked about this last season with North Carolina recruiting players that previous offseason, saying, well, hey, we're going to go to the USL Champ. Obviously, not everybody knew at that point, but you have to assume that Lexington had a good idea it would be happening. What a recruiting tool that is. Hey, next year we're going to be in USL Championship, but it really hasn't translated into wins on the field this season, that's for sure. Darren Powell has a word with Atestu.
Going black, white, black with his outfit today. Black cap, black shorts, or not shorts, black pants, with a white collared t-shirt. Youngcomb will dribble this one in centrally and he'll play it out wide to the left-hand side. That's Nico Brown there.
Yannick Youngcomb and I talked a little bit about him playing more of a deeper role than we perhaps thought we would see him do this season with Lexington. And he's international. What color are these Greenville shirts, Mark? I was listening to podcast the other day.
Well, I mean, they're officially the lilac.
Doug Irwin was talking about which color, how well these jerseys have sold, first of all, whether they were lilac or lavender.
Officially lilac jerseys. I am technically slightly colorblind, Ross, so I don't know if I have the best judgment of...
Lilac is the vote in the booth, so we're going to go with that. But yeah, Doug Irwin, Chief Brand Officer of Greenville Triumph, was saying how well these jerseys have sold this year.
I think they're pretty nice. Christian Liu Young plays this one back to Mendez.
Continuing their relationship with jersey maker Hummel. I think they're going to go with a new away kit next year. One of the fun things you get to do as management of the club is work on the jerseys. Doug, one of the guys who loves doing that.
We have some pretty creative jerseys around the league, and I think Greenville and Lexington, also as two green teams, have made it work. And I mean, look at that goalkeeper uniform right there from Gunther Eichenberg.
Yeah, the poinsettia. I'm always glad when teams, as a goalkeeper myself, I'm always happy when teams sell their goalie jerseys.
Diouf anticipating someone out there wide, instead Lyon McKinnon all by himself as he picks that one up. So this is a Greenville team, when you count this game, their final 4 matches, 3 of them are against teams currently on the outside looking in, but still with potential to get that 8th and final playoff spot. I asked Rick Wright if it's any different approaching these games knowing that those teams are going to be pretty hungry coming into the matches, and he said, well, we're still fighting for our spot, and on top of that, if we can win out, and that could get us into the top 3, top 2, so there's still a lot of hunger on our side of things. And I mentioned that they had a game the other day where the potential starters played against the players on the bench, and the bench guys fought really hard in that game, so that's another situation where you can get a look at and an understanding of what it's like to play a team with a lot of fire underneath them as they try to prove themselves and get the results they need.
You mentioned those 2 games at Spokane and at Central Valley, but we also mentioned Greenville struggles at home this season, so perhaps those 2 road trips aren't looking as daunting, perhaps, against 2 teams that, as you mentioned, have struggled this year. Spokane obviously in their first season. Fuego struggling for a 2nd straight year, trying to avoid the wooden spoon again.
Make sure to visit shopgreenvilletriumph.com to check out the latest merch and kit launches. Once again, that is greenville.com. Shop greenvilletriumph.com.
It's on there earlier today. Some cool new swag.
Next time I'll give you a heads up before I'm going to do it. Well, I mean, I told you I was going to do it. McKinnon flops it up, and it's caught by a male knight. The other one's supposed to be 18 minutes. That's a wrap. The next one says fancy. I'm not sure if that's anything. So, didn't get the chance to chat with Darren Powell this week, but when asking him about this Greenville team last time they met, he described them as a good team with hardworking players. He shouted out Jamie Smith, which I think Lexington fans are all too acclimated with. Jamie Smith really become a villain for this Lexington franchise as we get our first yellow card of the afternoon. Ross, I tell you what, every fiber in me is keeping me from saying evening and night.
My pregame script I had tonight ran a couple of times, yes. And look at this yellow card dished out here to Chapa Herrera. Referee maybe got fooled on the initial contact, almost looked like it was going high, and then Chapa got him low, but it certainly was from behind and clumsy. So an early yellow for Chapa Herrera. That's something to keep an eye on, as Chapa likes to get involved around the ball as much as he can. You mentioned that previous matchup against Lexington was obviously a very entertaining one. Lexington took that 2-0 lead, and then Greenville came back in the final 25 minutes. Male Knight got sent off, and there was that bizarre own goal late to win it.
Well, that was the first game this season.
Sorry, the first meeting, yes.
Because the previous meeting was a 1-0 victory with an early goal from Lexington. That was a point in the year where Lexington were struggling with a lot of injuries.
Yes, it meant the first league matchup is what it meant this season. In the cup. You did the final this last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
See a fun final. Great crowd there in Northern Colorado. Congrats to them for winning their first trophy.
I'll see the highlights from that one at halftime. So in case you missed out on that action, you'll be able to see it at halftime and get caught up on the most exciting portions of that game, of course. It was a pretty fun 90-plus minutes.
Interesting to see what happens next season with the Jägermeister Cup. Will we see it again? Will we see the championship be involved? Will it be a different format? Obviously, a ton of new squads now coming into League One next season, so not the need for as many extra matches this year with the balanced schedule. Only 22 games in League One, so we need a bit more to get up into the 30s. And Zukowski there. Greenville posted a fun video of the boys recently of them talking about what they would give each other in FIFA ratings, and Ben Zukowski said he wasn't quick. He wasn't fast, but he was quick. He showed his speed today already. I'll give him that. It's a fun video on YouTube if you have a chance to watch it. Tyler Polak was involved. It's Christian Garner. Castro and Velasquez had some funny interactions.
McKinnon lofting that one up, and a male Knight comes down with it.
The team's finding a ton of success here early in the final third. Just the one shot total so far. A chance perhaps.
Yanko trying to connect with Lancaster, doesn't get there. We'll tap this one back as Greenville will progress forward here.
See Sebastian Velasquez coming deep to try and get things going. That gives Evan Lee a chance to push up a little bit.
Greenville team coming off that 2-2 draw against Central Valley, a game that Rick Wright candidly told us felt like a loss. He said that they just didn't have the energy in that game that they had in training and build up that week. They did call the first goal was phenomenal from Central Valley Fuego, a goal scored by Alfredo Midense. He credited the guys for answering twice in that game from behind, but all in all, disappointed, and they've been answering the call in training since then.
There will be a home game for Lexington women tomorrow. It'll be Oktoberfest. $3 for beers, that sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a good time. Fans, download the FanSaves app and follow the Greenville Triumph for access to exclusive deals at your favorite restaurants and breweries. Tyler Polak trying to slip that one through for Ates Diouf.
Chapa Herrera. It's not the kind of tackle Rick Wright, I'm sure, wants to see a play with the yellow card making from behind. With your opponent facing his own goal. I'm sure Rick may have had a quick word with him there before he jogged away. Both teams just seem a little out of sync here early. Passes going astray. It seems like Velasquez playing alongside Chaparrera in that deep lying role, allowing Evan Lee the freedom to push up, as we know he loves to do.
I know he has the ability to do that, so maybe also a chance just to mix things up and change the combinations and keep the other side on their toes. Who's going to be where? Can jumble up assignments. There's an open Benzakowski. Squares it across to McKinnon! It's still open, and it's into the back of the net! But the flag goes up. Leo Castro on the cleanup. Flagged offside.
First bit of space we've seen the home team within the final third. Castro will take another look at it here. It's a lovely ball through. It's with a pull back to McKinnon. Yeah, you can see Castro there. A good yard behind the last defender.
So Greenville nearly taking the lead here. McKinnon asking a great save of Emil Knight.
You can see Castro's reaction. I think he knew right away. I'm not sure how much Zakowski meant of that pullback though to McKinnon on second look. Lexington player got a foot in there. He ended up in the right place. Oh, that's great from Zakowski there.
Schultz trying to free open some space to cross it. Evan Lee gets fouled on the play, and a free kick is incoming. Yannick Yankum guilty of the foul. Check out all the exciting postseason action starting in November as the USL playoffs presented by Terminix showcase the top teams battling it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLLeague1.com for all the latest playoff information. We know 2 of the teams that will be participating in it. We have a good idea of the majority of the teams that will be participating, but of course, until you've clinched, it's not guaranteed.
Now, a set piece here for Greenville. Rick Wright, in our chat this week, said they've been working on some things. He said the execution is part of it, but also the right decision. What set piece to utilize? That was a half decent ball. Just unlucky bounce.
Ref says play online. McKinnon has the ball. McKinnon throwing it across to Velasquez. He takes a shot, and it suffers a deflection on the way. Corner kick for Greenville. I believe that's our first corner kick for either side here this evening. afternoon.
Liam McKinnon, yeah, stuck that long leg in there. Poked it away from Cam Lancaster. Good to have a chance from Velasquez. He caught it well just off the back. I think it was a Modesto Mendez and away for the corner.
So Chapa Herrera will make his way over to the corner flag. Herrera with the cross punched away by Knight. Schultz feeds it back inside. Here's the turn and shot saved. Jamie Smith trying to get on the score sheet, but Emil Knight had other plans. And now a foul here means a free kick for Lexington, and they escape some dangerous moments.
It was an interesting decision from referee Wesley Costa calling Nate Schultz for the undercut, but I think he had position. We'll take another look at it here. The chance here is a good punch away from Knight. Schultz with a shot landed at the feet of Jamie Smith. A ton of bodies to get through, but a good save by Knight in the end. Better here in the last 5 minutes from Greenville.
Corrales lays it up for Kanadi.
This is the first match of 4 tonight in USL League One. All of them obviously with potential playoff ramifications. Richmond hosting Omaha. Chattanooga hosting Knoxville, and Tormenta visiting NOCO. See if they're over last weekend's cup win. Obviously, they played midweek, I think, didn't they, Mark?
Yep.
NOCO as well, yep.
And they were able to get a win, 3 points.
Yeah, so no hangover there for sure for Eamon Zayed's men. Eamon Zayed back on the bench for that one midweek after missing the final.
Yeah, the Hailstorm with 3 points on the midweek. Madison with 2 games, both Tuesday and Friday following the game, and they were able to get 4 points out of 6, so.
I'll take that, that's for sure. Yeah, Madison and Omaha certainly looking like the class so far. And there's a yellow card.
So 1 booking aside for these 2 teams. Abel Caputo going into the books for the 6th time this regular season.
Obviously, yellow card accumulation, one of those things you got to watch at this point in the season. Key players missing potential matches with playoff ramifications down the stretch.
That yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport. Herrera sends it over to Schultz. Got a lot of room to think about what he wants to do with the ball. Once again, welcome in here to historic Riggs Field for this one between the Greenville Triumph and Lexington Sporting Club. That looked to come off an arm.
Velasquez lucky not to get away with a card on that one. Seemed like it was very intentional. Let's look at the, just the pullback from Caputo. Bit of a silly one considering he had plenty of help.
Pick this up and distribute it. Spinning it over to Ates Diouf. And Diouf will keep going after shrugging off Herrera. A lot of yards in front of him. Centers it. Kanadi fires and it bounces wide. Deflects off of Gunther Rankenberg, so it will be a corner kick for Lexington.
Yeah, Chapa Herrera was beaten for pace, and because of that yellow card, he couldn't take down Diouf with a professional foul. Let's see if Rankenberg got a touch on it perhaps, or if it hit Brandon Fricke. Can't really tell on that replay, but first real dangerous piece of final third action for Lexington. First shot of the game.
Ates Diouf makes his way over to the left corner flag to perform this one.
A whole ton of room over there for right-footed players.
So they'll play it short. Service from Corrales. It's not a bad ball. And it's headed away by Nate Schultz.
Yeah, good ball in there by the former MLS veteran. Keelan Fox in the foreground there. He'll certainly be a target once again on this corner.
Two center backs for Lexington, 6'3" and 6'2", Mendez and Fox. Kanadi's service. A lot of air under that one. Headed back into the mixer. Second service. Looking for Lancaster. Serviced once more. And Greenville now able to escort this one out. Switches it to Evanly. To Greenville lifers here. It's Pollock finding himself on the opposite end of where he's positioned usually, so makes that trot back across the field. Once the crisis was averted, of course. Ricky exchanging with Velasquez. 30 minutes through this one. Both teams with half chances, but nothing too significant thus far. Male Knight has made a save or two. But ultimately, 0-0. Pretty fair scoreline at this point.
Yeah, both these teams canceling each other out a little bit, both with that 4-2-3-1 formation to start things tonight at least.
Yanka to Diouf. Christian Liu Young, another guy with some pace to him, taking on Tyler Pollock. Liu Young squares it across, and that was a much needed slide to keep that one from falling to Lancaster. Chapo Herrera with the awareness. And now he springs Castro forward. One-on-one with Fox. Castro still with it, taps it back to McKinnon. And that one spinning outward.
Yeah, Leo Castro wanted it back. It was lovely work by Chapo Herrera, as you mentioned, Mark. The man has a ridiculous engine. I know we're still in the first half, but he's been back and forth all day here today. Good ball to Castro. He was looking for support. It was taking a while to get there. Watch Castro here. This is what Liam McKinnon does. Sucked in the players, and if you're giving it back to Castro, as you can see where he wanted it, he would have been wide open for certainly a potential goal-scoring attempt. Liam McKinnon does like to shoot.
Nesto Mendez now with the ball. Gives it up to Liu Young. Lexington clears forward once again as they build in to the offensive half. Noting that happy third birthday to Lexington Sporting Club. 3 years ago it was announced that they would be getting an expansion side here in USL League One. Nico Brown with the cross inside, and it's in! Christian Liu Young nodding that one home. And the visitors have taken the lead here 30 minutes in.
Yeah, great work here by Nico Brown. He was on his backside for a moment. Found enough room to cross it. Christian Liu Young unmarked at the back post. Tyler Pollock tried to get back there. He's been unlucky off Jamie Smith in the end. We'll see if Liu Young gets credited with the goal. He probably should do, but it wasn't over the line. He's going in anyway. Pollock just perhaps lost track. He was more worried about Atis Diouf and didn't think about Christian Liu Young. Certainly perhaps against the run of play, but that's what this team can do.
Yeah, I would say, looking at the replay, that ball was still on its way in before it glanced off of Jamie Smith, which would mean it still counts as a goal for Christian Liu Young. It's only when the ball is not on trajectory would it count as an own goal. Now, statistically, they're going to go in the books as an own goal for now, but sometimes those things get updated as the game goes along. So perhaps when we get back from halftime, we'll see what it's been logged into.
Yeah, Christian Liu Young loves to get forward into the action from that right fullback spot. Right place at the right time there. Just talking to fellow broadcaster Neil Rollari today about his son's playing high school soccer, and he always tells him, go to the back post. Go to the back post, you'll get more goals than you think once you do.
They're looking for more goals here. Liu Young to Lancaster. Juggling the ball a bit. Now Diouf lays it over to Caputo. That's out wide to Brown. Lexington looking to pick up some steam here. Brown one-on-one with Schultz. Able to find Kanadi. His cross lofted in. And Gunther Rankenberg is able to get onto that one before Christian Liu Young could get there. So a goal, whether it be an own goal or a goal for Christian Liu Young. It's a 1-0 lead on the road for Lexington. A team that needs points and needs them now. It's the final 4 games of the season. They're currently on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs are concerned, but it is tight in that race for that 8th and final spot. And 3 points on the road would be massive. McKinnon looking for a response, takes the shot, and it curls over top. McKinnon loves that shot, cutting inside.
Good news for Greenville is they managed to salvage 2 wins and 2 draws from losing when they conceded the opening goal in League One this season. Still plenty of time to go. They've certainly looked by far the better side, I would think, in these first 37 minutes. 5 shots to 1. Just really haven't had Mega Mile Knight do much of anything to make that one good save down low. Castro was offside on the rebound. Other than that, Jamaican's been pretty quiet. Just the 2 shots on target. Lexington, meanwhile, 4 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses when scoring the first goal in League One this season.
I already brought up earlier that game early on in the season between these two sides, where Lexington scored the first 2 goals.
Yes.
Of course, that one ended up spiraling into quite the wild game. Fricky connects with Herrera. Sikowski will turn and cuts it back as Greenville to see if they can find a response here. Schultz keeps it in play and then does well to get by Nico Brown. Schultz sends in the cross, headed down. Herrera can collect it. There's Tyler Pollock to Lee. Returns it right back. And it's cleared away. Ross holding his breath there for a second, hoping that that would lead to a Tyler Pollock shot on goal.
Whistle behind the plate.
Looks like we're gonna get a water break here. It is a hot day, just 2 o'clock, perhaps. Well, correction, Modesto Mendez was actually hurt on the play. He's back up and walking, which is good news. You can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches, including the championship final, will be available in Spanish throughout the rest of the season. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
We're working on your Spanish, Mark. I hope we can get you doing a game before the end of the season on 2DN.
I think I need a little more work than that before I'd be able to do something along those lines. Five more minutes to go, plus whatever is tacked on. And it rolls out of bounds for a Lexington throw. So here's what actually happened to Modesto Mendez. You see number 44 there. Goes in on the challenge for Tyler Pollock.
The old cleat to the toe.
That never feels good.
He feels a little better these days without... Some players still wear metal cleats, but a lot of them don't just have the plastic ones these days.
Free kick for Greenville incoming. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Herrera, nice ball through to Evan Lee. Lee steps back, now shoots. And there wasn't a lot of pace to that one, was trying to pick out a corner. But it doesn't reach that target, and a male knight just has to fall on top of it.
Yeah, lovely ball into the channel for Evan Lee here from Chapo Herrera. Got the other side of Juve, perhaps didn't want to release that left foot. Certainly more of a right-footed player, Evan Lee, and that was just disappointing in the end. Kind of scuffed it. Ran out of gas himself and perhaps the ball as well. Typo now going forward.
No one encroaching him, so he just took up the space in front of him. Herrera now.
So Lexington sneak into this deep block here, trying to keep this 1-0 lead until the break at least. Only Cameron Lancaster not behind the ball. You know, a ton of pressure being put on.
Schultz with the lofted cross. It's in the danger area. The keeper was away from his line for a moment. Here's an effort. Had a lot of power behind it from Chapa Herrera, but not on target. If that one's on goal, it's going in.
He said 150 miles an hour. Male Knight went fishing, didn't catch anything. Was almost caught out. Chip in by Schultz. I'm not sure how Male Knight thought he was going to get to that. Luckily, the flick landed to one of his players. I'm not sure how far wide this was, but if that had been on target, he might have broken it.
A lot of time ticking away here. Greenville finding themselves in a familiar position in this game that they did last game against Central Valley Fuego, a game that Rick Wright said they were coming off a 7-1 loss and were breathing fire going into the game, as time wasting is the reason for the yellow card to a male knight. The yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport. So that was a Central Valley Fuego team breathing fire coming into the game, and they had to play catch up, and they needed to expect the same thing in this one against Lexington. They're also coming off of a loss.
Finally, Lexington still not credited with a shot on target in this game, because that, unfortunately, that shot counts as a block shot by Jamie Smith, and then the own goal. There's a chance here to manufacture one, though.
Jamie Smith once again involved in a Greenville-Lexington game. The last regular season match between these two sides is this one. Looked to be flicked along, but the offside flag goes up on Cameron Lancaster, and they'll quickly get things going again.
There's a heart-stopping moment there. Cam Lancaster wide open. Thankfully for Greenville, the wrong side of the last defender.
Fair challenge there, according to our head official, Wesley Costa. We're gonna get one more minute added on here before the whistle for halftime. Zakowski out to Schultz. Service comes in. Had some danger. Those crosses on the right-hand side from Schultz here this afternoon.
Need a fine bucket for you, sir. Well, for both of us, I think. You might be ahead so far.
Chapa Herrera. Trying to connect to Tyler Polak, but instead it was Christian Liu Young on the receiving end of that one. This might be the last moment here in the first half. McKinnon. Now Castro. Able to back heel away from two players closing in. They need to get something off here, though. Velasquez gets it knocked away from him. And now we'll deflect out to Gunther Rankenberg, and the whistle sounds. An own goal off the header from Christian Liu Young. Glances off Jamie Smith into the back of the net, and Lexington on the road lead 1-0 against the Greenville Triumph. And with that in mind, we'll prepare to step aside here. When we come back, we've got some highlights for you on the halftime show on ESPN+. But 1-0 is your score after 45 minutes. We'll see you on the other end of this break.
To address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice, serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
South Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's reliable, that stays affordable. To do this, we're investing in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that South Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
We welcome you here to historic Riggs Field. 1-0 your scoreline after 45 minutes. Lexington on the road leading. Let's recap you on what happened a couple weeks ago, the last time we had regular season matches.
Time is lower and backheeled in. Chandler O'Dwyer with the flick on. Gets the first goal of the game in Richmond. Takes rid of it. He's got a wide open draw. Gomero. He's got Fitch in support. Gomero cuts in. Takes a shot and scores. Gomero, an assist. Now a goal. 2-0 for Richmond. Turnover goes. Long distance try. And Richmond's got 3.
I think that was Greenville love that Madison. Just a
He
draw.
did say! Punched away in the follow-through. Zakowski with a step. He's tripped up in the penalty area. And a point to the spot from our head official. McKinnon steps up and he scores. Put some air under it. Pick the shelf. Now Garcia, the 16-year-old, lays it to Lemus. Siobhan John Brown shoots and scores! Excellent placement from Siobhan John Brown. McKinnon, one-timer across, and it's back into the net. A catastrophic mistake levels this one moments after Central Valley had the lead.
Your team and playing as your favorite USL side is driving forward and slicing one in. Tabuya drives and strides and dances to the byline. Cross in! Obergon! My word, what a goal! Ahead of this corner kick. And it just flutters in over roaming. Line side. Almeida lines one up, skips through, punched away, it falls for Vivas! And just like that, Curry. And Spengler's turn. Ajmir Spengler!
Room to bash it in. It's a dangerous ball, and it's one that's put in. Union Omaha strikes first, and Charlie Ostrom providing the final touch. They will press and they will counter at times, but they will not overexert themselves to do it. Here's the low driver.
Settles it down and leaves it for Powder to center. Disrupted. Still available. Up top, Martinez! TJ Bush was able to fall on it. And he makes Jägermeister Cup group stage finale. Hernandez goes again for net, and it's punched out by Delgado. Omar Hernandez, that's how he scored his first goal in USL League One.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Recentra bien el balón dentro del área. ¡Hombre, es el segundo! La combinación es buena. Se canta el 1-1. ¡Te lo canto! ¡No te puedo creer! Increíble, Felipe. Y señoras y señores, la USL Championship.
mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, sweet. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
There's a new airline in town. Breeze Airways has arrived at GSP International Airport with nonstop flights to 5 cities nationwide. Enjoy low fares, no change or cancellation fees, and convenient nonstop service. Make your next trip seriously nice on Breeze Airways. Visit flybreeze.com to book your flight from GSP today.
We welcome you back here between Lexington and Greenville on ESPN+. Let's take a look at the highlights from last weekend's Jägermeister Cup final. Prentice floats this one up for Cheney. He chests it down and shoots! And he scored! A buzzing start for Madison! The Jägermeister Cup final, actually just in any final. As this ball is lofted inside, skipping around, Rendon cutting left and shooting and scoring! As this ball is lofted inside, skipping around, Rendon cutting left and shooting and scoring! It looks like we've got a good one brewing here, folks. And Ethan Horde has done it! Let the title party begin! So congratulations to Eamon Zayed and the rest of the Northern Colorado Hailstorm for winning the first ever Jägermeister Cup. We mentioned Cameron Lancaster winning Player of the Week and is also up for Player of the Month, along with Liam McKinnon, Billy King, and Joao Gomiro. And then, of course, a lot of clinching scenarios across the USL this week. Greenville, one of the sides that could lock things up. We'll talk a little bit about that in the second half as we get through the second 45 minutes of action. But with that being said, let's take a peek at what's coming up on the docket. This is what's coming up next week. Some big games on Saturday, like the Hailstorm and the Charlotte Independence doing battle. Union Omaha will be playing Lexington. Meanwhile, Greenville will be going on the road to play Spokane Velocity. Every single one of these games is oh so important. No team is eliminated. Every team still has a chance to shift up and down the standings, which is just the way we like it. When we come back from this break, we'll have the highlights of the stats from the first half of action, but more importantly, we'll have the second half of action here on ESPN+.
It starts with only one tap to have total home control with Priority One Security. You can view your cameras and video doorbells, integrate our smart locks, lights, thermostats, and control your garage doors. Customize your smart devices to fit your schedule with our automated controls for a smart, effective, and secure way to protect your home. Experience total control and complete security from the convenience of our one app, one tap smart security and home automation on demand. Call Priority One Security and tap that app. Official partner of the Greenville Triumph.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
One little lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean big. Bigger than jackpot big. like back in 2014 when lottery funds helped upgrade South Carolina's classrooms, giving students the tools they needed to follow their biggest ideas wherever they live, through school and far beyond. For over 20 years, the biggest lottery wins have been and always will be for our state students. After all, education is our middle name.
We're back for this afternoon's match presented by YMCA of Greenville, proud partner of the Greenville Triumph. My name is Mark Schoenstar. I'm joined by Ross Davenport. 1-0 your scoreline after 45 minutes. If you're just now tuning in, let's catch you up on all the action for the first 45 minutes of action. Ross, Greenville may have had the better grouping of chances in this game, including this one that would be waved offside, but they're the ones trailing right now.
Yeah, it had the 9 shots in this first half. Long distance stuff. Jamie Smith, that's probably the best chance. The one right before it was a good save by Amal Knight, but Castro was offside. Lexington would finally get things going in the last third of this first half. We'll get the goal coming up here in a minute. What was the difference so far in this one?
This shot from Marcel Canadi, a late acquisition this season for Darren Powell's side. Greenville with a chance to take the lead here. Leo Castro would play it to Lyle McKinnon, expecting to get it back, but McKinnon would take the shot, and it spun the wrong direction. And then we'd get the goal. The effort from former Greenville Triumph player Nico Brown to Christian Liu Young, off Jamie Smith into the back of the net. It has gone down into the books as an own goal. We have to give credit on the effort from Brown and Liu Young on the play.
Yeah, Brown coming off his backside and a lovely cross, and Liu Young just wanted it more than anybody else. This one from McKinnon goes scorching over the bar. There are your halftime stats, and really tells the story. Greenville just not clinical enough in the final third and have plenty of work to do here in the second half if they want to stop these struggles at home.
These numbers brought to you by Coca-Cola. You see the disparity, you saw them in the highlights, you see them here in the numbers. But the fact of the matter is, Lexington up 1-0 on the road, and sometimes that's just how you get those road results, Ross, is you take advantage of the opportunity presented to you, and then you set up shop and then you get out of there. We'll see if Darren Powell's side can do that here in the second 45 minutes of action. They switch ends. It'll be the lilac unis going left to right. Meanwhile, the black and the green central stripe going right to left. That neon green that Lexington are so known for.
Greenville just have to try and find a way to unlock this Lexington lower block. And on the road, you get that first goal. Sometimes a way to success just to set up shop, park the bus, and as you mentioned, Mark just trying to escape with the 3. Greenville just weren't able to unlock it enough in that first half with enough quality technical play. See if they can figure things out here. Got to get Velasquez a little further forward, I think.
This one sent up ahead as Greenville look to replicate the chance-creating portion of the first half. But like you said, they need to tack on some clinicality as that one's launched inside. Schultz back again centrally. A lot of players static there. Maybe thinking that ball ended up getting out of bounds.
The problem for Rick Wright is with no Zion Scarlett today, the only real attacking option on the bench is Rodrigo Robles.
Herrera. Nice ball forward for Castro! And it's deflected in! One own goal for another. Leo Castro with the shot. And just a minute into the second half, we're level at 1 apiece.
Remember, Rick Wright said at halftime has worked here in these opening minutes, a much more direct attack from Greenville. Herrera, who's had the deliveries on, this was a lovely run by Castro, caught Nico Brown napping a little bit. Yeah, will that one go down as an own goal for the other center back? We'll have to see. Watch the run here by Castro. It was beautifully timed, had just enough legs to get to it. Knight came out, did well to make himself big, but that's a quality finish from the veteran.
That goal brought to you by the YMCA of Greenville and Leo Castro. I will say this, Ross, if the first one goes down as an own goal, that one definitely should.
Yeah, it was almost exactly the same thing, just with a foot than a head.
So 1 apiece in this early day fixture in USL League One action. So let's talk about clinching scenarios here for a moment. The Greenville Triumph, with a win, lock up a playoff spot. They would be the third team to do so. They join Madison and Union Omaha in that regard. They could also get in with a draw if a slew of other results go their way, which we can list them off in a second. And it's gonna take me a bit of time to read out every single thing that needs to happen. So if you're Greenville, you're just thinking, how about let's just get 3 points and get out of here. Meanwhile, Lexington, though, obviously can't clinch, but 3 points would be massive in that race for the 8th and final playoff spot. That's kind of how the league has cut itself in half here at the end of the season. Velasquez gets it returned to him. Looking for Castro inside.
Everything from Greenville now with a much better pace to it. Seemed like in that first half they were sort of scared to make a decision, whether it was to shoot or to pass. And much more decisive action here since the break for the Triumph. The PA guy's giving the goal to Castro, but Upta's giving it to Kalen Fox. I'm gonna go with Upta.
Usually where the official stats are kept.
Yes.
Of course, again, sometimes these things can get changed in hindsight. But like I said after the goal, if one of those is not an own goal, they're both not own goals, I would say.
I would agree.
So 49 minutes in, we're all tied up. Should Greenville trawl this game, they could clinch if Richmond lose versus Omaha, Chattanooga lose versus Knoxville, and Tormenta do not beat Northern Colorado, so they could lose or draw against the Hailstorm. All these games happening later today. So if this ends in a 1-1 draw, I guess Greenville fans, that's what you can root for. And ultimately, that's basically what Lexington are rooting for anyway, because those are all their competitors for that final spot.
As you mentioned at halftime, then we could have 4 teams clinched tonight, which would mean only 2 spots left for the other 6 teams to fight for. We're talking about home field in the playoffs, but home field, I think you and I talked about this previously, home field in the USL League One playoffs has not always been a guaranteed win.
Now we've seen some road warriors get some big results in the previous editions of the USL League One playoffs. That's a lovely ball through. Castro turning. We'll end up playing it back to Velasquez. Velasquez takes a shot, and Velasquez! Holy smokes!
I told you I told you I wanted a golazo. I said it to you at halftime. This game needed one to cleanse the palate. Oh, wow, Velasquez with an absolute rocket.
The Colombian Sebastian Velasquez lofting that one into the top corner. Just sets himself up, lets it rip, and I mean, you cannot place that any better.
Mile 9 saw it the whole way, but the pace on the shot and the placement in that top corner was just absolute perfection from Velasquez. You can see what it meant to the bench.
Simply fantastic from Sebastian Velasquez. This goal brought to you by him and the YMCA of Greenville. A golazo indeed for the Greenville man. His second goal of the season. That one, certainly one to remember. Greenville with 2 goals in the opening 6 or so minutes of this second half. You said it before or after the first goal, Ross, that whatever Rick Wright said was working, and it's double that now. You can kudos to the adjustments this Greenville team has made.
I mentioned Velasquez getting further forward and how deep he was playing in that first half.
Once again, that goal brought to you by the YMCA of Greenville as this one rolls to the hands of Gunther Rankenberg. what a start to this second half for this Greenville Triumph side. An own goal through the efforts of Kalen Fox, through Leo Castro off of Kalen Fox. And they may be going again. McKinnon. Couldn't get by Mendez. They'll clear it away. An own goal through the efforts of Leo Castro, and then a spectacular strike from Sebastian Velasquez. Castro getting his first assist of the year off that one. That'll be one of the easiest assists that one will collect in their life. He just passes it to the guy, he sets himself up, and then scores just a wonderful strike.
It's one of those ones you just dream of for Sebastian Velasquez. You could see it from the angle of the camera exactly where it was going. Caught it so sweetly.
Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 in the new SiriusXM app.
Greenville not known for their goals from outside the box in recent history. Wright has talked about how he wants them to take more hot shots occasionally, as long as they're quality ones, right? You can't just, we saw McKinnon whack one over earlier and get that space, get it on target. I know that sometimes the odds aren't with you, but if you do catch one like that, the odds are certainly going to get a little more in your favor.
Every now and then you got to let one fly, and because sometimes that's what happens.
It's just a matter of also keeping the defense honest. If they know you're capable of something like that, can't play off you as much. That opens things up elsewhere.
There's Nico Brown. Won't get the assist on their first goal, but in spirit was the assister on the goal. We'll have to see if they can find an answer. Now it's Lexington who have to find an answer in this game. Currently sitting in 11th place, trying to get to 8th. Now 11th sounds like it's a far away from 8th, but the fact of the matter is it's only 2 points off. So if they get 3 here, they would temporarily sit in that 8th place spot, and then they would be rooting for certain teams in that race to not find results later this evening. But first, they got to handle business here on the road in Clemson. Up 1 goal, 2 straight for Greenville. They are back behind and looking to see if they can not only come back this season, but come back in this game. Nico Brown slow to get up now.
Yeah, we certainly could have almost 2 separate races. Top 6 for positioning and the bottom 6 for those last 2 spots. And Lexington have been lucky that Chattanooga haven't been able to put a run or Tormenta together, because they would certainly find themselves way adrift. Nico not happy.
They're checking up on Nico Brown. 26 years old from Elkridge, Maryland. It's again his 2nd year with Lexington. 3 goals, 3 assists this season, and just mentioned moments ago, won't get the assist on that goal, but his service certainly the reason that ball ended up into the back of the net for Lexington.
I do want to give Spokane a little more love than I've been giving them. They are 7 points clear of 8th at the moment. Struggling a little bit of late with the back-to-back losses, but 1 win for them could certainly brought them very close to clinching. 7-5 basically. Nico looks like perhaps a hamstring issue for him. His speed is going to need that hamstring.
It's an interesting day as far as the League One matchups are concerned, because it's teams in the top half against teams in the bottom half, which means it could go in many different directions depending on how the results break out, as that yellow card is given to Nico Brown after the fact. It's his 3rd yellow card of the season, brought to you by GSP International Airport. So you've got Omaha, Richmond, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and then the hailstorm against Tormenta. So if one of those teams in the bottom race are able to get a win against one of those top teams, that could be a major result.
Certainly plenty of action for the neutral fan later on today. See if Nico Brown can try and work through this hamstring issue. Azad Liadi on the bench. Tate Robertson too, more of a right-sided player, but he can play wide in the midfield as well.
Velasquez will play this one out to Chapa Herrera. Greenville Triumph with 2 early goals here in the second half, have the lead. And now they could sort of replicate what they did in the first half for the most part, which is dictate most of the game. Fans, make sure to grab your tickets to the Triumph's next home match on October 26th. Visit TriumphTix.com to buy today. That'll be the final match of the regular season for the Greenville Triumph against the rivals, Tormenta.
We'll certainly be hoping they have a home quarterfinal wrapped up by then, perhaps. Another shot at a semi-final. Would take some work to get in to one of those top 2 spots, though. That's for sure. Unless there's an upset somewhere else in the first round, of course, obviously, as well.
Which is never out of the realm of possibility. So, Yannick Yankum slow to get up here after getting knocked over. And it looks like a yellow card to the coaching staff for Greenville. If we hear confirmation on a particular person that got booked, or if it was a player on the bench, we'll let you know. Yannick Yankum, Malta international. He's had issues with injuries earlier on this year and also missed some time after coming back from international duty.
Oof, that was an awkward one. Right as he planted, Castro came in with a contact. You heard Yankum yell, but immediately grabbed that right knee.
Another guy, 26 years old, 2 goals, 3 assists this year. This being his 15th appearance of the season in league play.
He missed a chunk of time with international duty.
This is his first foray professionally outside Malta. Up till he signed with Lexington, had played professionally there, along with, of course, his international duty. With a little hobble, will make his way to the sideline, and we'll await to see if he'll get substituted here or if he'll make his way back onto the pitch. We're at 60 minutes, so this is around the substitute window mark. So if you had to guess, you would imagine Darren Powell would opt to just swap him out, excuse me. So Azad Liadi and Alexis Cerritos are going to make their way on. Nico Brown, who was heard a moment ago, will make his way off. And Ates Diouf will step out for Azad Liadi. So as of right now, Yankum will not be subbed, but those substitutions seem to have been ready and waiting prior to the injury. This is a demonstration, though, of just the amount of depth offensively that this Lexington team have, that you can bring in Azad Liadi and Alexis Cerritos, two experienced League One attacking players off the bench.
Not too shabby for sure. There were many eyebrows raised this offseason with the amount of talent brought in by Lexington on the offensive side of things and how you were going to keep them all happy. You and I were talking about Jaden Owen. We haven't seen much of him of late. Such a good player last year for Madison. Yeah, Liadi and Cerritos, so two players that can turn a game in a heartbeat.
There's Cerritos now, playing it to Corrales. Jorge Corrales finds Cerritos, gets by Herrera, but does not get by the second defender.
Brandon Fricky down.
Play still going on. He's on his hands and knees thinking, oh, we're still going here.
Back up and now back down again. That's a concern for Greenville.
Can he have a yellow too?
And we mentioned pregame, no Daniel Wu. So they do have Oliver Hald on the bench. He could go to fullback. Perhaps we'll see what happens here. Jamie Smith already. Do make an Evan Lee change, of course, as well, if needed.
It was a crunching challenge here. A lot of contact, may have even been knee against knee, which never feels good.
I'm surprised there was no whistle on that. Lee got there first, clearly. Just plowed into. See if he's able to continue. Tyler Pollock has played a little bit of center back as well, if needed.
Zakowski, great work there to keep the ball in bounds. And then he's tripped up, and that should be a yellow card on Corrales, and it will be his 6th of the season.
Yeah, great work by Ben Zakowski there just to keep that one in. It was a superb bit of athleticism. Crap wants a red. Wasn't quite that bad. Certainly these yellow cards piling up here now.
Once again, we're here at the historic Riggs Field, about 45 minutes from Greenville, South Carolina. So those who are able to make it out there, the friends and family, and also some of the stragglers from Greenville who decided to make the trip, your individual voice more easily heard here this afternoon.
Corrales just got turned inside out by Zakowski there. He thought he was going outside, and by the time he turned back inside, got caught flat-footed. Gets the yellow card result. See how the delivery is here.
You know, left something to be desired. Headed back into the fray.
Brandon Fricky appears to be moving okay. It's a good sign for Greenville.
Schultz rolls it out wide. Velasquez. Now Tyler Pollock lofting this one up. Playing by a male knight. Lexington get the ball back, but now need to see if they can figure out something in possession.
One thing Greenville's done a very good job tonight today, is keeping an eye on Cameron Lancaster.
Cerritos now. Looking to see if he can find that man. Lancaster taps it to Liadi. Returns the favor. Well, actually, I believe that was the intention, but Lancaster not quite on the mark on the pass and opts to leave it out wide. Greenville take advantage of some of that hesitancy.
Lexington with just a .03 XG in this second half. Just the one shot. It's been a similar story to the first half, but Greenville just executed in fantastic fashion.
Corrales rolling it forward.
Chopper there to break things up as always. Velasquez went the wrong way. His teammates were going the other way.
Head full of steam there, Azad Liadi.
It was a good shoulder-to-shoulder challenge by Evan Lee. Referee Wesley Costa let it play, and then Liadi just landed on the ball, I think with an arm or a hand. Free kick goes Greenville's way. And they waste it.
Trying to catch someone off guard there. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, who plays their favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Chapo Herrera ran over 7 miles in their last game. They had the tracker on him and just his second game back after recovering from injury, and this goes to show you the kind of work rate that the guy has. Asterisk, right, if Chapa does anything in particular to condition himself for something like that, and he said, well, honestly, I think that's just the way that Chapa's built. I mentioned in the first game back, he was angry when they brought him off. He's a naturally fit guy and takes good care of himself.
Yeah, Wright's got a decision to make, though, here with Chaparral with the early yellow. In a tight game like this, do you leave him on and risk a red and missing that next game? That trip to Spokane. You just try and hope he behaves himself here. Helps you get that crucial 3 points.
Pollock steps on that pass before it can reach its intended target. I also mentioned Evan Lee's a guy who's hit that 7-mile mark at times this year. Of course, those two in those holding midfield spots, expected to cover a lot of ground, be stabilizers for this Greenville side. Put yourself in the right spot in case a play goes wrong.
I'm ashamed to say I've not hit the 7-mile mark this year, Mark. Maybe walking.
I don't know if I've run 7 miles in a single day this year, but
I meant year total for me.
Oh, in total.
I'm refereeing tomorrow, so maybe I'll get it before the end of the year.
Yeah, you'll shave a mile or two off there.
Chasing under 9s around for 50 minutes. Lovely ball there. Yank him off his toe.
You still have progress going forward, though. Here's Yankum. Headed away by Jamie Smith. The Lexington throw. And that one deflected out. It'll be a corner kick for Lexington. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Here's the corner kick. Headed away by Jamie Smith. Kanadi tried to play it in and was unable to do so, but he does get another corner kick. Can Lexington find something here? That one claimed by Gunther Rankenberg.
Yeah, strong claim there by Rankenberg, who hasn't had a ton to do tonight. Excuse me, today. Put my dollar in the fine jar. This Greenville goalkeeping situation still hasn't figured itself out. Wright continuing to go with both Garner and Rankenberg.
Playing the hot hand, I suppose, or at least the hand that does better in training.
It's an interesting tactic, not something we've seen very often at this level. Most teams in this league like to have that keeper situation sorted out, at least early in the season.
Sikowski with Corrales by him, playing it forward. An ambitious idea, looking to connect with Castro. And Emil Knight will quickly distribute that one from outside his penalty area. Lexington in need of finding some sort of offensive spark. If this result holds, the Greenville Triumph will have clinched their spot in the playoffs.
A 6th straight year, Mark. Obviously the playoffs didn't happen back in 2020. 6 years in a row.
Well, if it had happened, though, they would have been in it.
Certainly would have been, yes.
So we're going to get 3 substitutions here. 1 for Lexington, 2 for Greenville. First off, Cameron Lacey stepping in for Abel Caputo. So that is an offensive change for Darren Powell. Lacey, a striking player. Caputo, of course, a holding midfielder. And then Pascal Corvino in for Sebastian Velasquez, the man, the artist behind the last goal scored in this game. And Rodrigo Robles will step in for Liam McKinnon.
Yeah, pretty ineffective night by his standards for Liam McKinnon. See, Sebastian Velasquez still coming off the injury, yet to go 90 minutes, went 35 a couple of weeks ago, now 70 plus here.
Rodrigo Robles in for Liam McKinnon. These substitutions brought to you by Spinks.
As for Lexington, we'll see if they end up perhaps pushing a couple of players forward up top now. Ziadi may go and join Lancaster. Lacey sitting just behind them.
Schultz popping this one up to Leo Castro. Could have been dangerous from Kalen Fox, squaring that one back inside. Well, it could be a handball, and it will be. That kind of not look good.
He was clipped by Lacey after the handball accidentally, I think, Chapa.
I'll be honest with you, Ross, if he got clipped there, I almost think that's better. I wasn't sure if he had made contact with anybody. He's back up on his feet, though, Chapa Herrera.
The foul had already been, the free kick had already been given at that point. He just sort of ran into Lacey, really. Lacey didn't know a ton about it.
So Chapa Herrera will step off. Once again, coach being put in a decision where do they opt to throw someone in and take his place, or let him feel it out for a moment and then step back into the game. We're 75 minutes in. Greenville with a 2-1 lead after 2 quick goals out of the gates in the second half have given the Triumph the advantage. They'll be looking to hold on for 15 more minutes to secure a playoff spot. Meanwhile, Lexington, with that recent substitution, will be throwing more and more at this Greenville side. It's a situation you love to have Chapa Herrera in the game. But of course, if he's not ready to go, or if you think there's a bit of risk to it, then maybe you opt to take him out.
I think perhaps you leave him on for now. No Carlos Anguiano in the squad tonight, who would perhaps be, excuse me, he is on the bench. He was the one, I missed him on the top there. He's the one like for like, you'd think, for Herrera. Covino dropped back a little deeper. Just look at the subs and expect to see the goalie at the top. I'm not sure why I do that. With his single digits as well. Lexington here, throwing bodies forward now, looking for this equalizer.
Cerritos taps it out to Yankum, returns the favor. This one brought in. Yankum tries to get there. Yankum persisting! And this one's cleared away off the line. I think that was Rodrigo Robles who provided the clearance, and now Zakowski breaking down the other direction. Zakowski cuts inside, steps to his right now. Greenville don't have to force anything. They'll enjoy some possession here.
Clearance from Robles. It almost looked like we were going to have a third own goal. Couldn't really tell where that ball was going to bounce. Yankum got a lucky rebound. Tried to put it away, and Robles was there to save the day.
Evan Lee, right along the perimeter, keeps it in bounds. So a dangerous moment for Lexington there. So a promising moment for Lexington. Can they build off of that?
Continuing to press here, not sitting back.
Corvino plays this one forward. An opportunity to try and turn it ahead as looks like Nate Schultz might be down on the ground. That will be the case.
A couple of fullback options available off the bench in Oliver Hald. This is Hassan Gabo. It's been a while since Schultz has gone the 90.
Last two games had the opportunity, or at least I'm not sure how he looks at it, but he was on the bench these past two games, given they shift Evan Lee back into that back line. Jamie Smith pushed out to a fullback spot. Gave him a chance to rest at least. This is a guy who is a pretty consistent machine for this Greenville side, Nate Schultz. Fans, download the FanSaves app and follow the Greenville Triumph for access to exclusive deals at your favorite restaurants and breweries.
Substitution for Lexington. Entering number 2, Tate Robertson. Exiting number 12.
So another substitution for Lexington, and it's another aggressive change. Jorge Corrales is out, Tate Robertson is in. Robertson, although a guy who can play along that back line, certainly has the proclivities to go forward and score, or even more importantly, supply an assist to a score.
And here comes the answer for Greenville. Get some fresh legs out wide.
So Hassan Gabo and Hayden Anderson both subbing into the game, bolstering up on the defensive end. Anderson will play a little bit further forward as we get our adjustment of the match presented by Upstate Spine and Sport. Hassan Gabo also stepping in. He'll be that answer to the extra firepower for Lexington. Those substitutions brought to you by Spinks. We'll see if those decisions by Rick Wright do what they need to do to see this result out. Ten more minutes to go in this one, plus added time. The Greenville Giant at historic Riggs Field. Power issues at Paladin Stadium following the hurricane's damage. Once again, we hope everybody affected by the earthquake is currently safe on the road to getting what they can back and are in good spirits. Castro playing on here. Leo Castro squares it, played along, and Greenville could not find the goal. Off target. Rodrigo Robles with an open window, but he couldn't put it on frame.
Cameron Fox with the initial mistake. He was looking for the free kick. The referee looked like he was going to his mouth with the whistle, decided against it. Greenville almost took advantage once they had too many players and too much space, too much time. In the end, disappointing effort from Robles. Off target.
It was an own goal in the first half to get Lexington ahead. That seems like a long time ago. At this point now, the visitors now with ambitions to just at least salvage a point from this game. Surely you never expect a team to score 7 goals in a game, but this unfortunately looking closer to Lexington's previous performance against the Kickers. Are staring at 3 straight losses if they can't find a response.
Great tackle by Hassan Gabo, pinching in from that right back spot. A risky spot too, but he stuck that leg in there.
Another way breakaway chance for Greenville. But Modesto Mendez able to interject. Robertson. Bring that one forward. Got 2 players in front of him. It's the one benefit, Ross, of when you play these games and there isn't a raucous fan base, is that you can sometimes hear the communication on the pitch, which is always a neat little feature. Lacey.
Oh, risky challenge from substitute Hayden Anderson. Timed it perfectly, though.
That was either blocked with his thighs or his back. It will be a corner kick for Lexington. Robertson, a set-piece specialist, drives that one in. Ball's up top. Hayden Anderson, more than ready for it. Anderson has 2 bodies to his left, but he'll just keep going. Hayden Anderson tried the shot, couldn't put it on target.
Yeah, just ran out of gas in the end, but he had tons of support to his left. All he had to do was lay it into space. Surely hearing them, as you mentioned, with the no crowd mark, but didn't end up looking that way. And it was a tame shot from outside the box. He felt the pressure, but if he'd just taken a peek to his left, and teammates streaming for it.
Gabo gets it over to Anderson. Time taking away here for Lexington, and Greenville will do what they can to grade out more and more of these seconds. Stab there from Saad Liati. Greenville will take their time to restart this one.
We'll see plenty of action left today. Greenville will be up to 3rd, though. They can hold on for these 3 points. Only 4 points behind Madison with 3 games left.
One thing they can guarantee is they'll be ahead of Charlotte, who played yesterday.
And ahead of Charlotte in the win department as well, which is obviously the first tiebreaker when it comes to USL League One playoff standings. Greenville also with +7 goal difference. A lot of teams very close to them in that department.
Herrera. Nice slipping ball forward. Anderson playing it inside and claimed by Knight. Kanadi hits the brakes. They'll now play it up the field. Lancaster out wide. We'll get it back here. He rips across into the penalty area. Cerritos nods it out to his left for Lacey. Cameron Lacey one-on-one with Gabo. And another corner kick incoming.
Testing Gabo on that right side, past the test again there. Stood his ground, didn't leave his feet.
Just his 6th appearance of the year for Hassan Gabo in his 2nd year with the Greenville Triumph. Robertson drives another one in, and it's still in the frame.
You can hear Christian Garner yelling, keeper. Certainly got 2 hands in it, but not enough of those 2 hands, and that was almost a very costly mistake. Back out to Rankenberg.
Mel Knight way off his line, right by the midfield line.
It's poor. Head goes down.
And now another defensive substitution will come in for Rick Wright. No putting around about it. Oliver Holt for Leo Castro is a defender for a striker. The substitution brought to you by Spinks.
It's an interesting one. We'll see kind of tweak to the lineup. Tactical setup, that is, for Rick Wright. See what he makes here.
Under 3 minutes of the 90 to go. If Greenville could see this one out, they will have guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. They would be still the only team to have participated in every single edition of the USL League One playoffs. You mentioned before that did not have one in 2020, though they would have been one of the 2 teams to compete in the final that year.
Oops.
Had it occurred.
Fox with the takedown of Robles.
Robertson once again. And his service left something to be desired.
Rinkenberg will certainly take his time here. Wind down towards 90 seconds to go. Have to say Greenville probably deserve this if they can hold on for the 3 points. Lexington have just looked too tame in that final third. The story at times all year for them, unfortunately. Just 4 total shots in the game for a team with this amount of offensive talent. It's just a little scandalous. Just 2 shots on target. Just haven't been able to get it going. Just haven't been able to gel on a consistent basis all season, and we'll see if it costs them a spot in the postseason. Could find themselves 5 points adrift at the end of tonight.
So now you get to the situation for Greenville. We talked about the other clinching scenario they had earlier if they drew and the teams they'd be rooting for. It probably flips around now if they can get the win here, as Robertson slides in to win that ball back from Gabo. Because prior to the potential of them getting 3 points, they were hoping those teams below them wouldn't gain the points, but now if you're a Greenville fan, you're looking at these teams that are around you in the standings to drop points to those bottom table teams. For example, Union Omaha playing Richmond later. So we've got quite a bit of time left in this game. 7 minutes tacked on. 7 more minutes for Lexington to find a response. 7 more minutes for Greenville to hang on to this lead. Will we be seeing our 3rd official clinched team in the USL League One playoffs? Lacey still going with it. He's one of the goal scorers in that 7-1 throttling Central Valley Fuego in their last home match.
That's an interesting decision by our center referee. Chapa Herrera with the cramp. And now Darren Powell didn't quite catch it on the microphone. We're probably thankful for that, because whatever he just said earned himself a card. Because unless it's a head injury, there's really no reason to stop that play, especially with Lexington in possession in the final third.
So Herrera looking to call for a substitution here. I don't know if they have any more. They've already brought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. So look from the corner of my eye that it might have been a red card from our head official, Wesley Costa, and that is in fact the case. Now we're still waiting to see who got the red card on the bench. It was one of the assistant coaches for Lexington, so not Darren Powell and not one of the players, but one of those members of the coaching staff will not be available for their next game, a road trip to Werner Park. Which, if you're a Lexington fan and you see that's your next game, you go, oh brother.
Especially if you, depends how far you are adrift at the end of tonight. Could be as many as 5 points. There will be a free kick here. Oh, sorry, it will be a drop ball, excuse me. Alexis 3 just wants the free kick. Nice try. Hayden Anderson's going to remind Mr. Costa exactly where the ball should be. But no contested drop balls anymore, Mark. It's It's been a while since we've had contested. I miss those days. Especially at the kids' level.
It's like a hockey face-off.
Yes. Somebody's getting kicked in the shins and the other one's getting the ball.
Builds character. Kennedy couldn't get there. So a harmless goal kick incoming.
I'm going to have at least a minute added on to this 7 now after that injury to Chapa Herrera. He's trying to come back on. As you mentioned, Mark, no subs. He's just going to have to fill the space. Try not to have it cramp up again. We've all been there. We've tried to play through it. It's hard to avoid that second cramp.
It is ironic that Chapa Herrera, a player who was so eager to get back, and then once he got back, got mad at his coaches for taking him out. The scenario where he wants to get out of the game, he cannot get out of the game.
Yes, he was trying. See him now limping around in the center of attacking midfield. He'll probably just leave him up there, I think. Everybody else drop back and help out.
Sliding challenge there. I believe that's Azad Liati who went diving in on Evan Lee. This man who's authored quite a few goals in USL League One play. Former man at Tormenta in Tucson. I'm sure Darren Power remembers him too. I remember that 4-4 game a couple of years ago that you had between Tormenta and Fort Lauderdale, where Azad Liati, I believe, had a goal or two. And that was against Fort Lauderdale. Greenville might have an opportunity here. Robles tries to shoot. Squares it to Herrera. Herrera to Corvino, but stepping in there first was Robertson. A little bit of a miscommunication there. Cerritos still able to come down with it, though.
Chapa Herrera was the last one that wanted to see the ball at his feet
Yeah.
in that situation. He should have just dummied it. And then it wants to go to the corner, but they're not letting it.
Anderson goes sprawling out there. And then the tug will mean a free kick.
Well, here's the problem with this yellow card. That's silly because the free kick was taken nowhere near the actual foul. That's what Rick Wright, I'm sure, is saying to this referee right now, Mr. Costa, because if free kick had been taken from the right place, Mr. Anderson would not have got a yellow card.
The referee has issued a caution to Greenville's number 20, Hayden Anderson, in the 96th minute.
Just the second yellow card of the year for Hayden Anderson. Ball swung in. Looked like a handball. No call made. Lancaster plays it to the right. And Lexington finds something here. Nodded away. Robertson, top of the 18, shoots it, saved. Rankenberg steps up to the plate and makes a stop. Tate Robertson, a certainly capable striker from outside the penalty area. Gave it a go, and Rankenberg makes the save.
He had plenty of traffic in front of him too. Good work by Rankenberg. Once you saw Robertson with that space and time, you knew there was only one outcome.
Worth mentioning for Gunther Rankenberg, happy birthday to him today, turning 25 years old. Looking to secure 3 points for his side between the sticks. Also getting a yellow card in the process.
Herrera again. He's going to get away from the ball.
He just has a knack for being at the right place at the right time.
Even when he's trying to get away from the ball, he's finding himself in the mix. Offside. Oops. Referee just handing out cards for fun now.
Second yellow card for Rodrigo Robles. This is his 4th appearance in league play for the Greenville Triumph. One of those later season acquisitions. Robertson ripping it inside. Lancaster going for it there, but the foul is called. And now it's a matter of the rest interpretation for when this game will conclude. So let's see just how much longer this one's got for us.
Can't forget a solid defensive effort tonight. We mentioned how they limited Cameron Lancaster, but back four tonight has been superb. Even with Hassan Gabo coming in off the bench, he's made a couple of big tackles since his entrance. Fricky and Smith solid as always. Still have some work to do here though.
Azad Liati with a good step. Liati!
Wow.
It'll go out for a goal kick. I thought for a moment maybe that one suffered a deflection, but Liati just didn't get it right.
He just snatched at it.
And that's all she wrote here. The third entry into the USL League One playoffs are the ever-present Greenville Triumph, who continue their mark of participating in every single postseason edition in the history of USL League One soccer. Rick Wright, in his first year as the head man for the Triumph, able to keep that tradition going with a 2-1 win in a temporary home at historic Riggs Field. We'll be back after this break.
What exactly is a Sully steamer? Our sandwiches are made to order, which means once you've taken a look at our big menu and narrowed down your options, we go to work. Our sandwiches are stuffed with fresh, flavorful ingredients and then placed in our special steamer until the sandwich gets warm and soft and fuses all the flavors together to achieve the peak of tastiness. Are you hungry yet?
You've never been afraid to put in the work. The extra early, extra late, extra work. Because you understand that education is the key that unlocks everything. Better pay, better hours, better opportunities, a better you. And playing the lottery is no different. Getting educated before you play gives you the tools you need to be a better player, like knowing when to play and when to take a rain check. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to be a better player.
It starts with only one tap to have total home control with Priority One Security. You can view your cameras and video doorbells, integrate our smart locks, lights, thermostats, and control your garage doors. Customize your smart devices to fit your schedule with our automated controls for a smart, effective, and secure way to protect your home. Experience total control and complete security from the convenience of our one app, one tap smart security and home automation on demand. Call Priority One Security and tap that app. Official partner of the Greenville Triumph.
2-1 your final score. The two head coaches conversing afterwards. But the Greenville Triumph victorious and clinching their spot in the playoffs here at historic Riggs Field. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here on ESPN Plus as we wrap things up in our post-game content. Here are your full-time highlights. Starting off with this chance here. Nate Schultz to Jamie Smith. Great save from Emil Knight at the end of things. And Lexington would fire back in the first half. Wouldn't find the goal here, but they would end up hitting the back of the net once the half concluded, but not before Leo Castro and Ryan McKinnon would connect for an opportunity. These full-time highlights brought to you by GSP International Airport. And here is that goal provided by Nico Brown to Christian Louis Young.
Watch Louis Young, he's wanted this ball more than Tyler Pollack, who probably didn't see him creeping in behind him. But yeah, great work by Nico Brown, former Greenville man. It was a lovely floated cross. He was just begging for somebody to get on the end of it. A bit unlucky for Jamie Smith.
Then the second half would start, and immediately it would go in the favor of the Greenville Triumph. That one glancing off of Cameron Fox, 2 own goals to start off the scoring in this game. Leo Castro, though, good run. Great pass from Chapa Herrera. And it would be one apiece. Just 2 minutes into the second half. And then, of course, the game winner and the goal of the day, Sebastian Velasquez. I mean, take him out.
Certainly a candidate for goal of the week, perhaps goal of the season, and a goal worthy of a playoff clinching victory for the Greenville Triumph.
Velasquez just winds it up and picks that one out perfectly. Top left corner. Beautiful from the Colombian. Here are your full-time stats brought to you by Coca-Cola. Ross, these are some interesting stats here, but we also a game where both teams had the exact same number of passes attempted, Greenville completing just one more of them. So that's another fun little stat for you to hang your hat on, as they were equal in possession, so I guess that tracks if you had equal amount of passes too. But the Triumph, the better side today.
Yeah, and another stat to put in here. Lexington, 15 lost points now for winning positions in the League One this season, the most. Greenville, meanwhile, 11 points gained from losing positions. No team has recovered more.
With that, Lexington will go on the road next weekend to play Omaha. Meanwhile, a road trip to Spokane for Rick Wright's side as they look to put themselves in the best playoff position now that they've secured a spot in the postseason. But for this afternoon's broadcast, for Ross Davenport and our entire broadcasting crew, I'm Mark Schoenster saying thank you for tuning in. Be sure to tune into the other League One games later this evening. We'll see you there.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.